Hello everyone, I'm Brah Mithra. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the Lion God expansion. I was setting up, I wanted to play, get the next, everything all recorded for Kingdom Death, get the next episode out to play through, and I was thinking to myself, I barely ever talk about Lion God here. He's shown up once in the campaign of Season 2, I played him. Didn't use him in my Season 1, didn't use him in my Season 3, have no intention of using him in Season 4. I have just kind of want to fight him one time. But he's such a cool little guy. Mine's a little bit modified here to the end of his little thing there. But he's so cool, right? He's so, majestic in his woeful majesty. You know what I mean? I wanted to really talk about him. He's so interesting to explore. Did you know, originally, when he was pitched, he would be kind of like a hybrid quarry nemesis. Originally, he was pitched to show up after you killed a whole bunch of white lions, right? If you hunted too many, this guy would show up, to avenge his kin, right? That's how it was worded. A very interesting pitch. That's nothing that we actually got for Lion God, but still very interesting. Think about what that used to mean. Did you know originally, when Kingdom Death was originally pitched, there was going to be the Nemesis rolls, right? When you did your settlement events, you'd have to roll for a Nemesis encounter. And then you'd roll one die for every lantern year that's passed since you last had a Nemesis encounter. And if the total was 30 or something like that. So you'd add a d10, then you'd roll, and you'd roll, and you'd roll. And then if the total ever broke 30, then the next year you'd add a Nemesis, and it would be something. Originally, it was pitched as the Butcher when they showed that, but even that's changed. And I now realize I've gone way off topic, not really talking about Lion God. But that's the thing with Lion God, right? He's so interesting. But does he actually fit in Kingdom Death? His place in the game, does it actually work? So let's take a look at some of the stuff that he includes. And here we have the Lion God book. So the Lion God book is going to be just like every other, regular introduction book for Kingdom Death Monster, all the other expansion books. It's going to have its intro event here. For the Lion God specifically, this one's about a boy who wants to travel to the Silver City to find a cure for his mother. So much cool stuff. Even with this intro event, right, with the boy and his mother, and the boy would steal into the darkness in search of the lost city. The boy knew that if he found the silver god from his mother's stories, he would tell him how to make her better so she could hunt once again. Very interesting. A wild assumption. I don't know. Her stories must have included the knowledge. She must know quite a bit about the Lion God for him to be able to form such a wild assumption that hunting the Lion God would heal her and allow her to hunt again. Because there's not really anything that we see from the expansion that actually does that. And I just realized I'm off topic again. I'm not really talking about the content. I'm just talking about the lore. So, we're going to focus. Okay, we're going to focus. Let's talk about content, the actual content of the expansion. So, Lion God includes your regular assortment of stuff. You're going to have your AI cards. You're going to have your Lion God basic data card. You're going to have your hit location cards, innovation cards, strange resource cards, fighting art cards, sorter cards, terrain cards, hunt event cards, and some gear cards. Now, the interesting thing about Lion God is all the gear is rare gear. As you can see, there's no settlement location here. You get hunt events because it is a quarry, but there's no resources you get from it. You just get basic resources for hunting the Lion God. There are strange resources, but again, these strange resources are tied to the death reading, so you don't even really get them from farming the Lion God. You get it from going into the sinkhole terrain that is included, and you plunge into the Silver City. Man, the Silver City is really cool stuff down there, too. It really, the fact that you're down there spelunking and stuff. Well, spelunking, I guess, is more of a Dung Beetle Knight thing. But look at this, the Necropolis thing, all the story events here, all the stuff that you can get when you go down into these ventilation shafts, right? And you explore, right? Partway down, you find cryptic symbols that are thickly scratched into the stone walls. If you have 8+ hunt experience, you plunge into the Grand Gallery. So what's in the Grand Gallery? There's more catacombs down there. Lion God is level 2+, you descend the catacombs. And there's catacombs, canopic jars down there. God's chambers has sarcophaguses. There's like the Lion God statues are referred to as sphinxes. All the hunt events are really cool. We'll talk about some of the hunt events here in a second, but all the stuff that you can find in the Silver City. Did you know that the Silver City is getting its own expansion? It was pitched during the Kickstarter 2, right? The 1.5 Kickstarter for Lion God. It was meant to be an expansion where you would actually go into the Silver City, not just do all this stuff. And there's going to be a whole bunch of other stuff. And I just realized, again, I'm only talking about the lore of the Lion God, not actually talking about the fight or the mechanics or like anything about him himself. So we're going to try to get back on track here and not just talk about all the cool lore that's included. Let's go ahead, look at some Lonely Traveler here. This is a hunt event where the survivors see a lone traveler with a determined look approaching with a drawing of a familiar face. The survivors must choose to lie or tell the truth. So you can see this is interesting because there are a choice here, choice hunt events. These are in other expansions, but it's really cool. The more basic hunt events should have like these dual choice and stuff like that. Even some of the white boxes should have had stuff like this. But this one is super cool because this hints towards, you know, the manhunter here who's trying to find John Connor. So he's got his drawing of the familiar face. He's going to approach the hunting party. He's going to intimidate you, ask where this guy is. He knows you've seen him. He's searching for a survivor. He's going to shoot with his gun, which is really cool. If you do lie to him, you'll see here this is where the survivor suffers the gaping chest wound, severe injury. They scream in pain. They'll give up the information, and then you lose one population, which is from the settlement. So interesting. Wonder why. Well, we know that in the original lore, it was said that the manhunters sometimes use white lions as like hunting partners and stuff. So to see the manhunter, like the tie in the lore to when you're hunting a lion god and they're searching down the survivor, that's really cool, right? Makes you kind of wonder, like, is there some connection between the Holy Lands and the Silver City, right? There must be. Maybe there isn't. Who knows? But that's the thing, right? There's so many cool things, and all this stuff is all sprinkled in here. It's just really cool. And I bet we'll probably get into some of that stuff with Silver City. Because Silver City also talks about, you know, where you're going to probably actually be dungeon diving down there. You know, there's going to be all kinds of cool stuff. There's even like a lost night down. Okay. I just realized, again, that all I'm doing is talking about stuff that's not actually in this expansion. So let's talk about stuff that's actually in the expansion again. Look at this next one here. So this hunt event is called Sphinx. This says a lion statue with a booming voice, meaning it's referring to the actual lion statue terrain. See, one of the other interesting things about the lion god statue itself is you can read hieroglyphics on it, right? So that means that whatever down in the Silver City is literally writing like hieroglyphics on this thing. This terrain is also one of the level 3 rewards. We'll talk about it, but this literally the lion god statue is a gear card that you can get in this expansion. This expansion doesn't include any monster resources or anything we've already talked about. This expansion doesn't include any survivor sprues either. But could you imagine what kind of survivor, if they gave you a lion statue to put on your survivor, right? How would that even work? How would you even carry that around with your survivor? It'd be bigger than like you. The statue takes up it's a 2x2 piece of terrain. Are you actually putting that in your gear grid? How would that even work? Man, I wish we would have gotten one of those. Okay. I just realized, once again, I'm not actually talking about what this expansion actually does. I'm just speculating on lore, once again, and all the cool things and missed opportunities. So, okay, I have to stop doing that, right? Whenever this, here we go, let's get back to it. So another one here, Distance Destruction. This hunt event shows an example of the lion god destroying the lion statue. So you see you set up the showdown board with one less lion statue terrain on the showdown board. Lion God just got done destroying it. However, this one's interesting because you get this ability, Homing Instinct. Add +5 to your rolls on the Runaway Story event. This is super cool because you could technically, well, not technically, you actually just can if you wanted to. You could go into the sinkhole, roll on the Necropolis board, and then just run away, keeping all your strange resources. Each one of these death readings is going to be tied to a strange resource, and these strange resources change, alter, and give you the alter your survivors in some way, or give them curse gear, stuff like that, give you rare gear. This is the main way you're going to be getting your resources or the gear in this expansion. So now, let's take a look at my favorite 9 cards from the expansion. For every 10 insanity you have, you gain +1 speed and +1 strength. The fun thing about this is this can just create infinite speed builds, and then if you have ways of wounding the monster with just, automatic wounds on perfect hits or something like that, that's not limited to once per attack, you could just do infinite damage with this. So you have Bone Witch Mendy. Here's Necromancer Eye. This is a neat one. This is just a cat eye circlet. However, it's 4 cards instead of 3. This is also the reward from a level 1. Next we have Death Mendy, Glyph of Solitude, Lantern Mendy. This is a neat one. You may start on the showdown board in any unoccupied board space. Very neat. Hey, look, it's the Lion God statue. This is kind of ridiculous. -1 evasion. You gain +1 strength for each red affinity you have. And that's if you have this puzzle piece completed and you want to carry this around, because it does nothing. This is the reward for killing a level 3 Lion God, by the way. Ancient Lion Claws. These are pretty unique. However, you get -1 evasion, but you get +2 strength when attacking with daggers or katars. You may move up to 2 additional spaces when you pounce. So that's really cool if you want to play with the White Lion set. Then, Golden Plate here. When you depart, gain +2 armor to all locations wearing fur armor. So one of the other things that's pretty interesting about Butcher's Blood here is you get that from one of the strange resources. You get that from the Canopic Jar here, which is interesting because the actual event itself, see the Canopic Jar, it shows it looks like a butcher's pauldrons and stuff, right? And it has to do with when you gain it, you get remove bleeding tokens and stuff. And when the actual event, when you dive down in here during your death reading, when you actually open up the jar, right? The Canopic Jar, we'll go ahead, we'll read this. The Canopic Jar is filled with a red-black fluid that doesn't resemble any blood you've ever seen before. Entrails bob and swim through it like hungry fish. Upend the jar on your head and roll 1d10. The blood sticks to your skin, spreading when you try to rub it off. You panic. On a 4+, you see red. Otherwise, the blood boils, separating flesh from bone. You die screaming. So, when you open up the Canopic Jar and you pour it on you, all this stuff comes over you. If you happen to get it and you gain the actual the Butcher's Blood, as I was just talking about, the harder you try, the more it spreads, and the angrier you become. After a moment, your whole body is covered, and your mind sees only visions of rage. You black out for hours, raging in the room until everything is reduced to splinters and powder. When you are finally done, you come to and see a symbol written on the wall in blood. Gain the Butcher's Blood rare gear. See, it's cool stuff like this that's hidden down in those catacombs, right? Man, it's like telling almost like a story of a butcher, right? You can almost the amount of lore that this expansion adds to other expansions and core game is really cool. One of the other death readings is it talks about Lonely Tree. Another one talks about the go to it real quick here. Bone Witches. Another one for the Lantern Mendy talks about the smoke. I just realized once again, I'm not actually talking about stuff that's included in this expansion. I'm talking about other things, just lore. That's all I'm talking about. Let's get back to talking about stuff that's actually in the expansion. Once again, have to stay on track here. It's almost like this expansion doesn't really include anything, and all it is just speculation and lore. Because I keep getting off track. But okay, I'm not gonna do that, right? There can't be any more things where I'd rather talk about lore than not actually talk about what's included. Let's go ahead and look at some of the AI cards. You can see here, the basics have this Relentless. Every single basic AI card is going to be a Relentless card. Relentless by itself doesn't do anything. It's just an AI card type. However, all of them at the bottom of this, not all Relentless cards have this, but if they do, you reveal the next card. If it's Relentless, then you play it. And then that just creates these just tons and tons of looping Relentless cards. So that's basically it. That's the whole gimmick of the Lion God, pretty much. Another AI card that he has is Heft here, where the Lion God is just going to go around, right? You have to full move the monster towards the closest impassable terrain. Then, if the monster is adjacent to it, remove it from the showdown board. Otherwise, perform basic action in the monster's turn. So the Lion God has the ability to pick up like terrain. Lion God is huge, right? Look at how big this guy is, right? He's not bigger than any other mini. It's hard to really gauge how big he should be or not, but you can tell he's really cool, and his AI cards are really powerful, right? They are some of the most powerful than any monster we have. Not actual mechanic wise, right? Like just damage and presence, right? Because he is called a Lion God. You know, that's another thing. In Campaigns of Death, he's going to get like a whole new deck of cards. They're bigger. They might be maybe the size of like the knowledge cards or whatever, but they're going to be called God cards. So in Campaigns of Death, he's going to have full art like AI cards to really show how powerful he really is. He'll probably get new hit location decks too, because the hit locations, you know, the reactions on some of these things, basically, the power level of Lion God, if you could find a way to knock him down, right, then just cancel his reactions. A lot of his stuff comes from reactions, so maybe he'll also get some stuff, and his trap is super cool too. Like his trap throws you off the board, he throws you all around, he can throw you into darkness and you die. Super cool. Like, I now just realized once again that I'm talking about Campaigns of Death stuff, and talking about how his AI cards and possibly his hit location cards are going to get completely redone. Let's go ahead and look at Earthquake. This is a fun one. So, closest survivor in field of view. Now it picks the target. What does it do? Full move the Lion God towards the target. A crack widens in the earth before the Lion God. All survivors lose 1 survival and suffer monster level brain damage. Any survivors in the seismic zone are consumed by fire and die instantly. What a fun card. Here's another fun card. Here's Woeful Majesty. This is a great one. The next time the Lion God shuffles its AI deck, place all AI cards from the AI deck and discard pile into the wound stack. Shuffle the wound stack, then heal 1 for each living survivor. Archive all terrain. Remove all tokens from play. Set all survivors' bleeding tokens to 4. Destroy all armor. Set all survivors' insanity and survival to 0. And then you archive this card. What a fun card. This is basically just, hey, let's just make it so one of you is going to win next turn, pretty much. That's basically what this guy adds, right? He's a quarry monster who doesn't have any settlement location. You pretty much go to him and then you run away. That's an interesting thing that you can run away from him. But, like, as far as what he actually adds, I guess I'm just more excited for the lore, right? I don't really want to ever fight him. And as I was saying, the Necromancer's Eye and stuff is really cool, but that's the rewards for beating level 1. And with 1.5, when you get, like, Indomitable, where you can't knock him down anymore, because all level 3s have Indomitable, and the level 3 reward for Lion God is not good anyway, and the fact that level 3 makes all of his cards relentless regardless, level 3 is, like, a little bit, like, insane. It's really difficult, and 1.3 is always going to force you to fight the 1.5 will always force you to fight a level 3. That just sucks, right? You don't even want to really fight it. You'd rather fight the level 1. So he's an endgame thing that you don't really want to fight in the endgame because he's less rewarding. So it doesn't really make any sense. He's in a weird place here. I guess I just like all the lore. And I also like all the stuff that's to come. Which is a weird place to be for an expansion because I don't want to interact with this in its current state. The lore is super cool, but everything else is just right? And fighting it is You just want the Necromancer's Eye pretty much. And some of the other cool stuff, like if you got Butcher's Blood, you could do some crazy stuff with that doll beta gear and stuff. And before they fixed the counterweight axe for 1.6 and stuff. But a lot of this is just super weird, right? And I'm more excited for what it will be because its current state. I can only the coolest thing about this expansion is speculating at how cool it could have been or what it was originally pitched as, which is super odd. So, poor Lion God. I guess we never saw what you're going to be. We'll just have to wait and see via multiple more expansions, via Campaigns of Death, and then via Silver City. And maybe someday we'll be able to actually take in the majesty that is Lion God. But until then, I fought him once. I don't plan on doing it again.